Today we're going to be learning about how to graph lines and inequalities. So your essential question for today is, how do I graph lines and inequalities? So we're graphing linear equations. The equation must be in slope-intercept form. It must be in slope-intercept form to graph it. That is their y equals mx plus b. That's your equation. Where m is your slope and b is the y-intercept. So let's look at the steps to graphing. So first we put the equation in slope-intercept form. We find the y-intercept and graph this point first. Remember, the y-intercept is just where the point hits the y-axis. Then we're going to find the slope and we're going to use the slope to find more points on your graph. So once we graph your y-intercept, we'll use our slope, either go rise over run, to find more points. So if the slope is positive, we will move up and then right. From the y-intercept point. So if the slope is negative, we're going to move down and then right from the slope-intercept as well. So let's look at an example. So first we're going to identify the slope and the y-intercept, and then we're going to graph the following equations. So remember, our slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. So let's look. Let's look at our first equation, y equals x plus 2. It's already in our slope-intercept form. Remember, if there's not a number in front of the x, we just assume it's a 1. Okay? So we have our 1 as our slope, and our b is 2. So slope equals 1, y-intercept equals 2. So that just means, so we're going to graph our y-intercept first, our 2, and that's just 2 right here on our y-axis. Now we're going to use our slope to graph more points. We're going to go, remember it's rise over run, so go up 1 and over 1. And we just keep doing this for a few more points, up 1 over 1. We can do the same thing by going down 1 to left 1, because it's still a straight line. We go down 1 over 1. Once we get a few points, you can connect your dots and draw a straight line. It's kind of hard for me to draw a straight line, but that's the best I can do right now. So let's try the second example. Well, just from looking at this, I have y minus 2x equals negative 3. That's not into slope-intercept form. So we're going to have to solve for y. So I'm going to add 2x to both sides. And I get y equals 2x minus 3. Now it's in slope-intercept form. I have my slope is 2. And my y-intercept is going to be negative 3. Make sure to use that sign, whichever is in front of your number. So to start, we're going to graph our y-intercept, our negative 3. So I'm going to go down to negative 3 on our y-axis. And now I have my slope of 2, which is always just 2 over 1. So I'm going to go up 2 units and over 1. And I'm going to do this for a few more points. Up 2 and over 1, up 2 over 1. I can do the same thing going down and to the left. I can go down 2 points, and over 1, down 2 and over 1. Once I get a few points, I can go ahead and connect my line. Again, sorry, my line is not that straight. But you get the idea. So now let's look at graphing inequalities. They're very similar, just a few little changes. Okay? So first we're going to get our inequality into our slope-intercept form. It's the same thing. Remember, y equals mx plus b. So determine if the inequality is a closed or open interval, which just means if the inequality is equal to, remember when it means to equal to, we have our bar underneath our inequality, so like greater than or equal to, or less than or equal to. That just means that line underneath the inequality. So this line one's going to be a solid line. So that just means that's a closed interval. So if the inequality is not equal to, remember that's just greater than or less than, the line we're going to use is a dashed or dotted line. Dashed or dotted line. So that's an open interval. And now we're going to have to do some shading when we do inequalities. So we're going to shade the region that meets the criteria of the inequality symbol. So we have y is less than, or y is less than or equal to. It means we're going to shade towards a smaller y values, which is below the boundary line. If we have y is greater than or y is greater than or equal to, that means we're going to shade towards the larger y's. The larger y values, which is above the boundary line. Let's look at some examples. Just like when doing equations, we're going to identify the intercept and slope first. So let's look at this first one. I'm going to go ahead and write y equals mx plus b over here, just so we remember that's our slope-intercept form. So I have y is greater than x plus 5. Remember, if there's no number in front of the x, it's just going to be a 1. So I have my slope, or m is 1, and my y-intercept is going to be 5, or my b. Okay. So let's go ahead and graph this. We'll start at our 5 because that's our y-intercept. And remember, our slope is going to be rise over run. So we're going to go up 1 and over to the right 1. Up 1 over 1 for a few points. Remember the same thing, we can go down 1 to left 1 as well. It's still part of our line. So once we get a few points, we're going to either draw a line, a solid line, or a dashed line, depending on the inequality. So looking at our inequalities, since it's just a greater than sign, there's no equal to, we're going to use the dashed line. So what it means is y is greater than x plus 5. So here I have my dotted line, and all my y values that are greater than this are all going to be above. So I'm just going to shade everything above my dashed line. That's all you do. So let's look at the second one. We have x minus 2y is less than or equal to negative 2. Well, we got to put that in our slope-intercept form. So I got to solve for y. So minus x, I'll get negative 2y is less than or equal to negative x minus 2. Divide by negative 2. Remember, when inequalities, when you divide by negative or multiply by a negative number, you gotta flip the sign. So my inequality is gonna be y, and instead of less than, remember it's gonna be now greater than or equal to negative 1x divided by negative 2 is just going to be 1/2 x plus 1. Negative 2 divided by negative 2 is a positive 1. So now I have that my slope, or m, is 1/2, and my y-intercept is 1. So I'm going to start my y-intercept at positive 1. And remember, it's rise over run. So I'm going to go up 1 and to the right 2. Up 1 over 2. Up 1 over 2. Remember, I can do the same thing. I can go down 1 and to left 2. So you can have some more points. Down 1 to left 2. So this inequality has a greater than or equal to sign. So that means I'm going to use a solid line. So it says that y is greater than or equal to my 1/2 x plus 1. So everything, all my y is greater than this line is going to be everything above my line. So I just shade everything above the line. That's all you have to do. So now go ahead and write your questions and summary for this lesson.